What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Wars VII Face. On tonight's show, we have coming at you entertainment. We're going to be talking horrible movie of the week. Of course, we got quick hits. Then we have our guide to summer TV, how to find the diamond in the rough of all the horrible summer TV that always comes out every year. Talking about Star Wars VII Villains. And then we're going to finish it off with exclusive content going to different systems. And is this going to be the way they drive users to their systems? On tonight's Words for My Face. That was once in a lifetime. That was one of the greatest round ones of all time, of all sports, ever.
I think, though, Beverly Hills Cop, RoboCop crossover needs to happen. Whoa.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Words for My Face. My name is Brian. With me, as always, producer extraordinaire Brendan.
You.
And we are the one and only home of the Chewbacca chainsaws. There's nothing like a chainsaw to wake you up at night. Because it's terrifying.
There is, in fact, nothing like a chainsaw to wake you up at night.
Nothing. Nothing at all. It's a terrifying sound. Trust me, you do not want to be woken up to a chainsaw. I have, unfortunately, on many occasions, and it usually has an 8-foot Wookiee right behind it. So, yeah, not good. But you can always hit us up at Words for My Face on Twitter, wordsformyface@gmail.com. Comments down below, and Google+, that's a thing, so you can do that.
It is, in fact, a thing, as opposed to not a thing. I don't...
Yep, you know, that's how we wrote, you know. But, like I said in the intro, this is an entertainment night. And as always, we start off every entertainment night with the horrible movie of the week.
I'm pinned down!
That works. We're pinned down. Had to watch it. And this week I did not get a user submission, so I had to torture myself again, people. What are you doing to me? Come on.
They were doing so well, too. We had a nice slew of suggestions. You know, we had... What was that, the last 4 weeks, almost?
Maybe 5 weeks of horrible movies for me to subject myself to that I did not have to pick myself, which is always... I can't tell you how much more it's just less painful when somebody else subjects me to it, but what can I do? So this week, the horrible movie of the week was Curse of the Dragon Slayer.
Okay.
Yeah, and I believe this was a straight-to-Netflix movie, or at least straight-to-Redbox movie, because it was made by the fantastic people at Phase 4 Production Films.
Who you might know from...
all the horrible movies you've seen in Redbox for the past 3 years. Trust me, if you see Phase 4 on there, you know you're getting at least a B movie, if you're lucky. Probably would end up being a C or D movie. So, yeah. Journey to Prometheus, I believe, was a Phase 4 film. And worst thing ever, Transmorphers, the legendary Transmorphers. Again,
Transmorphers, robots in disguise, right?
It might have been cooler if they had done that way, but yeah, I believe that was a Phase 4 film as well. So, yeah, whenever you see that nice little it looks like Fantastic Four, honestly. When you're watching, you're like, hey, am I watching a Fantastic Four movie? No, you're just watching.
The Fantastic Four movie wasn't very good either.
Well, that's true too. That is true too. If you're watching a Fantastic Four movie, probably watching a horrible movie of the week. But so let's jump into it. And so this movie, I would say the best way to describe this movie would be if Lord of the Rings and Wizard of Oz had a baby, and then Skyrim and let's say Dune had a baby, and then those two babies met and had another baby. That's this movie.
I mean, that doesn't sound too bad. That sounds like pretty awesome.
No, just imagine you took all the best traits out of all those movies, aforementioned movies, and then that's what those babies came out as. So
they're all like the worst form of evolution.
It's like what happens to Dalmatians after they've been bred too many times over.
They end up mean and nasty.
And just not fun to be around. So sorry, this movie, and it had potential. It's It's a Lord of the Rings-esque. You have elves, you have humans, you have orcs, and apparently the gods are waging war, and you have these warriors set out on a quest, and it wasn't an entertaining quest at all. Let's just start it off with this. It probably had some of the worst fight choreography I've ever seen. There was one moment in this movie where this woman, the main elf woman, is fighting an orc, and at one point they literally stop, and it looks like, like they're setting up for a scene, like they're like, okay, actors, get in position, ready, action, but they started the camera a little bit too early, and you just see them looking at each other like just for like a second, and then she gets kicked in the face, and it's like, how did you not see this kick coming? Like, if you're really this great of a warrior. I mean, just straight in the face, not just straight boot in the face. And it was.
I mean, who expects a boot to the face? Come on now. Come on.
If you're in a fight with
civilized fighting, you don't kick.
But you're fighting an orc. I mean, not civilized fighting. You just do whatever you got to do.
Orcs are highly sophisticated creatures.
Actually, in this movie, they're a little more intelligent. They're a little more of the Skyrim orcs, a little more intelligent, but yeah.
So there you go. Like, who would expect this honorable orc guy thing, I don't know, to use a boot during a fight?
You're defending the orc? You're like, I think orcs have a bad name in all movies. I'm gonna rehabilitate their image all by myself. That is Brendan producer's that is his cause. So if you'd like to support his cause, hit us up at wordsformyface@gmail.com, at wordsformyface on Twitter, and of course Google Plus and wordsformyface.com. All those things and comments down below.
Misunderstood, and they've had a tough life, tough career, and I think it's time to end the racism.
The more you know.
Dun, 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 speciesism? Like, I mean, they call them race too.
Speciesism.
Is it racism or is it speciesism?
It's
Let us know. Comment down below. Is it racism or speciesism against the orcs?
We'll take a vote. Go ahead and put it in comments, and we'll see if producer extraordinaire Brendan has he's gonna have a movement, a groundswell behind him, rehabilitate the orcs' image.
All because of this movie.
All because that he didn't even see. That he didn't even see. So, so to get on to other horrible parts of this movie, for some reason the sky is usually this weird pea yellow color, and then every now and then when like there's this one part where they're trying to show this eagle flying around, and the sky is pea yellow everywhere except for right around this eagle, and it's just because they had horrible effects. Just really bad.
Nah, because the eagle is magical, Brian. You just didn't understand. I think that's really what your problem with this movie. You didn't get the symbolism.
Yeah. Well, explain the symbolism. For some reason, the main elf woman has these really weird Dune eyes, and that's why I kind of call it a cross between Dune, because her eyes are just these glowing blue eyes, and she goes in disguise every now and then. It's like, how do they not recognize you? They can see your eyes glowing like underneath.
The eyes just represent her innocence.
Yeah.
Because the eyes are a picture to the soul, Brian. The symbolism, you're not getting it. This was obviously a highbrow movie.
This was. Of course, about every single time right before they fight, there's a mysterious fog that seems to roll in, and they can't quite tell each other apart. Almost every fight scene, it seems like, fog rolls in. And I'm just wondering where this world is that fog just always pops up where people are fighting.
A cool world. Where awesome action scenes. Because, like, come on, fog during a big fight. That seems to be the appropriate thing to do.
Now, I do have a note here that kind of supports your orc are actually civilized argument, because orcs being the main bad guys or main antagonists in this movie. Yeah, every time they fight, it's usually like 30 on these three, and yet always, it never fails. They all seem to line up single file behind each other to fight the people one-on-one. So, there you go. There's your civilized fights. Just one at a time. You didn't hear a word I just said.
I did hear the word you just said. You talked about them ganging up, but they don't really gang up. They're just like one-on-one. I don't know. I don't really listen to anything you say.
I know you don't. I
just guess at what happens.
And at one point, they mentioned that collecting this weird blood from this area is very important to in the movie they're trying to resurrect this Dark Lord, this god of death, and they say that, hey, getting his blood is half of the most important thing to resurrect him, and for some reason the main characters who are trying to stop this resurrection decide themselves that they should collect the blood. And of course it ends up in evil hands.
That I've seen before, where of course the heroes decide, hey, let me go do the thing that will do the bad thing, so that the bad guys don't get it.
So, yeah, but then the bad guys just get it. So yeah, and literally, when you hear the name of Curse of the Dragon Slayer, you expect there to be multiple dragons in there, and there's one dragon throughout the whole movie. Like one.
Okay. Does he get slayed by the main character or something?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Really?
And it makes sense. And then the dragon writer actually puts a curse on the girl who does it, and that kind of propels her part of the story, but really badly. But still, you expect more dragons. I was expecting dragons everywhere when I hear Curse of the Dragon Slayer, and it really.
Hey, well, you only need to kill one dragon to be a dragon slayer.
I guess. Well, technically speaking, but really, it's like a fighter pilot. When you become an ace, like that's Dragon Slayer is their ace. So you have to at least knock down at least 2 or 3. That's the rule now. To become an official Dragon Slayer, you have to kill at least 2 dragons.
Maybe. All right, it's like getting a 00, becoming a 00 agent. You have to get 2 kills.
There you go. You have to at least kill 2 dragons. And in Skyrim, I mean, I must have killed like 1,000 dragons. So like I'm like the ultimate Dragon Slayer. So really, I'm not cursed. So I don't know where I was going with that. I just decided to throw that in there.
I don't think you're the ultimate Dragon Slayer, Brian, at all. I think we know who the ultimate Dragon Slayer is. And he uses a chainsaw.
I cannot deny that logic. That is very true. But that was the horrible movie of the week. So if you have a horrible movie of the week, horrible movie of the week that you'd like me to watch, go ahead and let us know. Comments down below. WordsForMyFace.com. WordsForMyFace at WordsForMyFace on Twitter, and WordsForMyFace at gmail.com. So yeah, I'd rather not have to torture myself again next week. Help me out here, people. Help me out. Help me, please. Please.
Just kick him in the face. Just
see, there you go. There you go. Just straight kick to the face, and we're done. But let's move it on to some TV news, because the summer's starting, and now traditionally speaking, the summer is really where you relegate the TV shows that you don't think are going to work.
Or reruns.
Have a shot.
Reruns a lot.
Or reruns a lot, but shows that might have a shot, you want to kind of test the waters, because you never know. Some shows can take off unexpectedly. Some shows that they think will do good are just going to drown. And usually it's this part of the year where we see the worst TV. But luckily, you have networks coming out to kind of save our TV viewership. Now, you can never really count on the major networks, and I'm talking about NBC, ABC, Fox, CBS, to really bring you good summer programming, because that's where they dump their garbage. But I've been seeing a lot recently that the cable channels have kind of picked up some of the slack. You have like FX, TNT, the HBOs, the Cinemax, the Showtimes coming out with their original shows that kind of save that. So we're here to kind of guide you in and help you find the diamond in the TV rough. And we'll start.
Do you think that the cable networks are picking up the game during the summer because they know they have less competition from the bigger broadcast networks during this time for the primetime slots?
Well, it'd be smart for them to do it that way. I mean, hey, yeah, it's like sports. It's like baseball seems to always pick up a huge amount of popularity around July, August, because there's no other sports on right then, So it's just timing is key. But also you see a lot of these cable networks, instead of running the 22, 24 episode seasons, they run a 10 episode season. So they kind of try to keep them going year round. So you'll have one show that goes 10 episodes, another show, and they'll kind of put them in the same slots, either Thursdays or Tuesdays, and kind of, back to back them to keep people hooked on those certain days. So that's what we've been seeing recently. But let's talk about some of the shows. And I'm going to start with a show that just premiered last night, and that is a show called The Last Ship. Now, it is on TNT. It features, I don't know how to put this politely, but one of my favorite ladies of all time. I believe I've even proposed marriage to her on this show before, and that is Rona Mitra. Yeah, she's spectacular. Big fan.
That wasn't particularly impolite. Like, I don't know what you were worried about.
I could have put it really impolite, but I decided
I think you figured out how to do it. I think you lied to us. You said you didn't know how to put it politely.
I totally did put it politely. So, haha! Surprised you like a kick to the face. We need to come up with some
roll with that one. Roll that kick into to something impolite about her. I don't know.
No, I'm not going to be impolite about my future wife. That would be just wrong of me. So, Rona, go ahead and hit me up. I will accept wherever you would like to get married. I don't mind.
And to be clear, he might be creepy now, but he's still being polite.
Still being polite. I'm a polite creeper.
There's a difference between creepy and impolite, I guess.
I'm a polite creeper. That's what I can say about myself. So if you're looking for a polite creeper, I'm just joking. But let's get into the show.
It's not dates from my face. I don't know. What would we call that? Where's from my face dating?
But yeah. So the last ship, it's about this naval ship that actually travels to the North Pole where there's a lot of ice melt to. They think they're doing exercises. There's a doctor along with them, Rona Mitra, who's there to explore the origins of a certain virus that is about to spread worldwide pandemic. So they get up there. They're up there for about 4 months. They start heading down, and they realize that the world, 80% of the world, they're done. They've been infected by this virus, and they're the last remaining bastion of sterility. So that's kind of, they go through their adventures. Now, the first episode, they didn't really. They killed off a character that it looked like they were setting up to be a main character, but you didn't really have an attachment to the character, so it didn't matter.
It's only episode 1.
Yeah. It's only episode 1, so I can't hate too much. This show really kind of gave me the impression of a show that I might not mind watching 4 or 5 episodes in a row if it's on demand, but I might not set time aside every week to watch. So, not bad. Check it out if you haven't. It's definitely.
Now, here's the big question. Did it have big explosions? Because Michael Bay is behind it.
It is a Michael Bay executive-produced show, and yes, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but it probably is a spoiler.
Yes or no?
Explosion. Yes or no? Biggest explosion you can have on Earth happens. I don't know if that spoiled it for anybody.
And the world entire Earth blew up?
No. Okay, maybe the biggest explosion we've ever seen on Earth happens. How about that?
Okay.
As humans we've ever seen. And it's happened twice before. So I just spoiled it for you. Sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, and the Russians attack at one point, and there's some really cool action scenes going on in this, so you definitely get the Michael Bay vibe from it, but it's not like super action. It's not bad.
Okay.
So that's one of them out there. Now, Falling Skies is actually a show that comes on right after it, and it's not a show that I've gotten into. I did watch the first couple episodes of that. It was pretty cool, but it's not one that I've really, really gotten into.
This should be a continuing series, because that's been on before. This is one I don't know, that was on at least last year, maybe the year before, right?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's one that has a previous season.
Yeah, that has about 3 seasons before it. Everything I've heard about it is it's pretty cool, and it is about the aliens invading Earth and Earth fighting back, so who can't get behind that? I can get behind that. Everybody can get behind that. So it's a pretty cool one. Now, a show to watch out for, I watched an episode or 2, and that's gang-related. Now, it has my boy RZA in it from Wu-Tang Clan, but whereas you are a genius at making beats and rapping, like he did all the soundtracks for a lot of the Quentin Tarantino movies from Kill Bill onward, he's not the best actor in the world.
Yeah, sometimes that's the case. Yeah, there's a lot. How many, actually, let me think. How many rappers do you know that have become good actors? I can actually name several.
LL Cool J was decent in a lot of his stuff.
He was okay. I remember him only in really TV stuff, but
yeah, okay. But seriously, most rappers do not end up.
Will Smith was good. He's almost a bigger actor now than he was ever in his
he's
rap career.
Definitely a bigger actor than he was ever a rapper, and that's because his rap wasn't the greatest. So
hey, as Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff, they're really good. I thought they were good. I don't know. but wasn't necessarily the best. He wasn't top,
they
but
had
he
their
was
time.
good.
That's for sure. They had their time, but yeah,
Fun.
so that wasn't great. The Strain is coming out on FX, and that is a Guillermo del Toro, I believe, not directed but produced thing about another virus that infects the world. So, and this one looks really creepy because there's a bunch of like worms crawling in and out of everybody. So, I'm probably gonna stay away from it. Worms crawling in and out of people's skin, not my cup of tea. But hey, if it's your cup of tea, go for it.
Your cup of worm tea.
Worm tea, the best tea ever. No, not really. A show that I actually think will be really cool. Again, if you've noticed the trend, all these good shows tend to be on the FX, TNT, not network TV. But is Tyrant, which looks really cool. It's about, I believe, not exiled, but estranged son of a Middle East dictator returns home to try settle down his country because his dad is getting kind of out of control, like killing people and stuff. So, looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, that sounds like a real lighthearted, good family comedy right there.
Super lighthearted for the summer. Then you have The Leftovers, and that's an HBO show where 2% of the entire world population just disappears all of a sudden. Kind of a Rapture-esque type thing, and the phone is ringing. Ignore the phone. Phone doesn't ring.
Very professional around here. Phone ringing left and right.
But yeah, The Leftovers, 2% of the whole world disappears, and they kind of talk about the people who were stayed around and trying to piece everything back together. Now, when you think about it,
I think I did see the previews for that one. That looked pretty interesting, and there's all the conspiracy theorists out there, and the paranoia about what happened to all these people that suddenly disappeared, and the people that had witnessed it versus the people that just heard of it, and all that kind of fun stuff.
But yeah, so that's that. And then one last show that I actually caught the first 2 episodes of just before we started. Surprise, surprise, it actually is a network show, and it's an NBC show. It's called Crossbones, and it's about Blackbeard, pretty much in his later years. He has set up a pirate colony, pretty much, and he presides over that. And he's pretty much just trying to keep the English at bay. Now, this has John Malkovich in it, which I love John Malkovich. He usually is good in everything he does. But I've watched the first 2 episodes, and I'm not so sure about the direction of the show. It shows
is he a ruthless pirate?
Yeah, he is a pretty ruthless pirate. Now, a smart ruthless pirate, but a ruthless pirate. But I just don't know if it's going to work. It's kind of, I'm on the fence about it. So I did watch the first 2 episodes. I like the main protagonist of the story. He's a physician/secret agent who has been designated to infiltrate Blackbeard's island. So it seems like it'll be pretty cool, but only time will tell.
Yeah, I can't think of very many television shows about pirates, to be honest. So that's kind of an interesting genre to explore. There's plenty of movies about pirates and games and other stuff about pirates, but
yeah. Well, you just
can't think of a single.
Well, Black Sails. We talked about it a couple months ago. It's on Starz Network, which is kind of another Blackbeard-esque story, but I don't believe Blackbeard is actually a character. Yeah, one, and it kind of looks like Assassin's Creed has been inspiring TV shows, because after that Pirates show came out, everybody's like, pirates now. Let's hope for an Assassin's Creed Ninjas, and then maybe we'll see some ninja shows.
That's another one. The only ninja one I can think of is Ninja Warrior, and that's not exactly the same kind of show. Not
real ninjas. So I'm here petitioning for more ninja shows, or any ninja shows. So let's get those out there.
Wait. I can think of some. The Ninja Turtle shows. Yeah.
Okay, well, they're Ninja Turtles. They are ninjas, so that does work. It fits. It definitely fits.
It's not exactly the highbrow entertainment you expect for your prime time slots, but it's ninjas.
It would work. I'd be down with it. So yeah, that's how you find your TV diamond in the TV rough. I said that wrong.
I don't think that's really how. You just said, hey, they're over there.
Okay, well, I just told you all the good TV shows to watch, or might be good TV shows to watch. I did leave out Girl Meets World, the new Boy Meets World show, but I don't know. There's no TGIF anymore. Yeah, Topanga and Corey have a kid, and it stars their kid.
That sounds like just trying to milk it too much. I don't know. Not sure I'm down. But
I
If
was
you're
a fan of
down,
Boy Meets
if
World.
you've watched it and think it's good, let us know down below. Or any other shows we may have missed this summer that are good.
Yeah, hit us up. Let us know. Comments down below. wordsformyface.com, wordsformyface@gmail.com, and @wordsformyface on Twitter. All good places to get to us. And we will watch those shows and tell you if you were wrong.
We won't tell you if you're right, though.
If you're right, you just won't. You won't hear from us. If you're wrong, though, man, we're gonna give it to you. But let's move it on to one of our favorite segments every week, and that is Brendan's cue to get the sound effect ready, and it is Quick Hits of the Night. There we go. See, hey, if I lead him into it, he gets it. Ah, there we go. But yeah, so let's start it off with the first quick hit, and that is that Think Like a Man 2 tops the box office with $30 million in domestic box office sales, followed by 22 Jump Street and How to Train Your Dragon 2.
I'm surprised at that top one, but all right.
Yeah, because I didn't think the first one was very good, and I'm pretty sure the second one wouldn't be very good. But I do like Kevin Hart, and he's just hilarious with whatever he does. He's kind of like the new Dave Chappelle, just funny with what he does.
He's got another one coming out pretty soon too. The Ringer, right? That's Kevin Hart, right? You don't have no idea.
No idea.
I would say it's him.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, people could murder me.
Wait.
Just remember Chewbacca will fight.
Yeah. He will be avenged. But, yeah, so, yeah.
But it looked pretty funny. Another one that I think he's going to be in, The Ringer, and if it's not him, it still looks funny. About a guy that needs a best man, and he doesn't have a best man, so he hires a best man from some service.
So Kevin Hart is all about the best man movies, because Think Like a Man 2 is all about him planning a bachelor party. So
there you go.
Hey, what can you do? But yeah, so let's move it on to the next quick hit. And that is that Microsoft might have accidentally released the date of the upcoming Arkham Knight game, which might be February 24th. That had been kept under wraps, and it was seen on a website by accident and then pulled down real quick, so that might be when you see the next-gen Arkham Knight game.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff happens fairly often. Sometimes I think, maybe that's done on purpose to test the waters, get that little leaked hype, because people love jumping on leaked information. It doesn't matter if they could have just gotten the real information out. Now that it's leaked, it's more important.
Exactly. Leaked is better. Well, I don't know. If it's true, it's better. But but let's move it on to the next quick hit. And that is Rosario Dawson is rumored to join the cast of Netflix's Daredevil show. That'll be coming out. So that's pretty cool. She's a great actress. She likes comic books, too. I don't know if you know, but she commissioned a comic book where she was kind of drawn in as the lead character, and she worked on it with them, and don't know the name of it, but hey, that's pretty cool. And she was also really cool in Sin City. Just saying.
Actually, that sounds a little narcissistic. Hey, I'm so cool. Let me make a comic book based off of me.
Well, hey. But let's move it on to the next quick hit. And that is Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 4 available free if you have Xbox Live Gold. So go ahead and download it. It's a pretty decent game. It's an arcade edition.
Street Fighter 4. To be fair, it was Super Street Fighter 4.
Mine is arcade edition Street Fighter 4. So I just love those free games with gold. Those are awesome. But let's move it on to the next quick hit. And that is Lifetime Channel is making a movie, the unauthorized story of Saved by the Bell. Based on Screech's book, Dustin Diamond's book. So, yeah, if you were a Saved by the Bell fan like me, yeah, that's going to be interesting because apparently those kids were really, really bad behind the scenes. And that's what this movie's going to be about.
That's interesting. Actually, I've heard the guy that played Mr. Belding, I saw him give a talk and comedy thing. I don't know what he was doing. He was talking about stuff, though. Saw him before. He seemed to think that the kids were all right. I don't know.
Well, hopefully the kids are all right.
There was a lot of drama behind the scenes of them. I don't know, various of them dating each other and then having issues. But it just sounded
apparently
like
yes, they were very promiscuous on the set of Saved by the Bell, which hey, Kelly and Lisa and Jesse. I mean, can you blame them? Can you blame them?
And now we know why Brian watched the show.
Well, I was like 5 years old, so I watched it for Zach's antics. But okay.
Now we know why he rewatched it when he was 14 years old.
There you go. That is ding, 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 ding. You know, there we go. So, yeah. So look out for that. It'll be on Lifetime Network sometime in the future. Check your local listings. Does anybody really check their local listings? I hear that all the time. Nobody checks their local listings.
What? Where would you find this local listing? I don't actually even know what listing they're talking about.
You always see it, but it's like, where is it? Like on the city like bulletin board, you know, where they used to hang the town criers. You know, hear you. On February 15th, Saved by the Bell, the unauthorized story will be out.
No, because I remember that you used to get those like paper TV guides, right? I haven't seen one of those in years.
Yeah, I haven't either. So, But yeah, so that was the quick hits of the night. There we go, and he's slicing it up there. But let's move it on to talk about movies, and let's talk about the new Star Wars villains. And now, so Star Wars 7 started shooting filming. I should probably learn how to put together a sentence. But Star Wars 7 is filming right now. There we go, that works. And there's been a lot of chatter, rumors. The rumor mill is working on this one because the story hasn't really been that much released. You just kind of know that Han, Leia, and Luke are going to be back in it. Chewbacca's going to be there because they got the same guy who played Chewbacca from the originals. And that's about all we really know. You know somebody's kind of messing with Luke, but you don't know quite who. And the rumors have been coming out that he's actually going to be facing a group of 3 Jedi hunters. And when I say Jedi hunters, nobody's quite sure what they're going to be, but rumors are, again, that these Jedi hunters are going to be linked to the Star Wars Rebels show, where that takes place in the 20 or so years between Episode 3 and Episode 4. And apparently these Jedi hunters will have been trained by Darth Vader to go throughout the universe and to hunt down Jedis, you know.
So are they just going to depart from what the book? Because I think they already had books out about what was going to happen in this stuff.
Remember they took all that a couple months ago. They took all that stuff and they said those are now Star Wars legends, and the only thing Star Wars canon is actually the numbered movies and Clone Wars, the TV show. So those are the only canon left.
I mean, I thought like Lucas had outlined all of this stuff like a long time ago, and that's what the books are based on. But it sounds like they're just like, nah, I guess if it's not actually already in a movie, we can do whatever we want.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what they've said. So, yeah, if it's not Disney related, it's now not real. So it's kind of interesting because I did kind of expect this to be the whole Jedi Academy thing where Luke starts back up the Academy. But this actually sounds like a pretty cool way to do it, and it's not saying that he can't start up the Academy during this time. But it probably won't focus as much on that because a lot of this Academy starting was Leia and Han's kids. They were
I thought that they were supposed to already. I thought they were supposed to have kind of moved on in the sequel trilogy from Luke as a main character because every trilogy there's a new main character and main villain. So.
Yeah, but so the cool things about some of these villains are that Adam Driver, he's from an HBO show, Girls. I've never really seen that show. Don't really know if he's a good actor, but he's scheduled to be one of the bad guys. And Lupita Nyong'o, the brilliant actress from 12 Years a Slave, she's actually going to be one of the other villains. Now, there's been a couple other names bounced around for the third villain, but nobody's quite sure who that's going to be yet. But it just seems like a pretty cool take, and now what they're speculating the story is going to be is that in the first movie, these Jedi hunters are looking for something, and, Luke's trying to stop them from getting their hands on some evil artifact or something like that, and it's to resurrect an evil Sith Lord. So I bet in the first movie they resurrect him, in the second movie he has his reign of terror, and in the third movie they eventually destroy him, kind of just like all the other Star Wars films have kind of followed that suit.
I don't see how you even have Jedi hunters at this point unless the Academy's... because there's been so much time without Jedis. So after Vader kills off all but 4 Jedi, including himself. There's 4 Jedi, right? And then there's 20 years,
Yeah,
and they're all in hiding.
But there could have been more Jedi on the outskirts that went into hiding automatically. The Star Wars Rebels show is actually about one of the Jedi that goes into hiding, and
that's right. And Disney's considering that canon, while all the other stuff that makes more sense is not canon. I gotcha.
Yeah. Well, so that's what's happening. Yeah. So maybe we'll actually see some other Jedi characters come out of the woodworks, which might be cool. But it kind of seems like, I mean, that's the Star Wars universe. There always has to be balance with the Force. That's why when the Jedi were too strong, Anakin came through and made the Sith stronger. And then when the Sith was too strong, then Luke comes through and levels that playing field. So it's always about leveling the playing field with Star Wars.
Honestly, I always thought that the whole balance to the Force, and it's one of those like twisted prophecies. So Vader's supposed to bring, Anakin's supposed to bring balance to the Force, and like Yoda alludes to the fact that maybe we misinterpreted that, and he brings balance to the Force by killing off most the Jedi, because it was mostly Jedi anyway at that point, but he kills off almost everyone left.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And then there's
the light side was too strong, so the dark side had to wipe it out. Then the dark side got too strong, the light side came
out to being there was 2 Sith left. The Emperor and Vader, and
there's always only 2 Sith. Yeah, there's only always supposed to be 2 Sith, the apprentice and the master, and then the apprentice kills the master and then gets another apprentice. That's kind of, the Sith are weird like that. That's how they roll.
Either way, it was 2 and 2 by the end of it. So, so that makes sense.
And the 2, yeah. So.
And then Luke brings balance to the Force by eliminating even more, except for he kind of unbalances it because he's the only one left.
Yeah, he kind of tips the scales back towards the light side, so that's why I think this makes sense with the dark side coming back up. Yeah, by 1, but that's why you have to have some agents of the dark side coming back. I also was reading rumors that they think Darth Vader might make an appearance in this movie, which just doesn't make any sense, and I hope he doesn't, unless they're like trying to show how Darth Vader trained these Jedi hunters.
Yeah. Now, from what I remember, of the very little I know of what was supposed to happen afterwards. By very little, I mean I read the back cover of a book once about it. There was supposed to be something in one of them anyway about Vader's hand. It's been Vader's hand or his glove that got cut off, right? Having being kind of evil and someone getting it, and it starts kind of influencing them.
Wow.
So,
but Vader turned good at the end, so
yeah, but his hand didn't, because his hand got cut off.
You're right. That hand kept the evil force in him.
Maybe it was a mechanical hand too. I don't know. So the mechanical is evil because it's mechanical, of course.
Evil mechanical arm. But all I gotta say is that the new Star Wars, there's definitely. I'm glad that they're able to keep a lot of it under wraps now. It doesn't make much to talk about, but I'm glad that they've been able to keep the story kind of a surprise. So when I hit the theaters, it actually is like, oh wow, there we go. But I think it's gonna be a good movie.
A lot to talk about because we can go into wild speculation.
We can, and we do. So, and then Chewbacca will show up with his chainsaw, his first ever chainsaw appearance. And now if he does show up with the chainsaw, I think we are owed royalties, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Somewhere. Maybe. Okay, but so I'm just hoping to see a good movie, and it's due out December 15th, I believe, 2015. So, not too far away.
The key to this movie is going to be whether or not they allow Harrison Ford to just ad-lib as much as possible. I'm telling you, that's actually been the key to all of Lucas's movies ever.
Is his ad-libbing? Well, hey, the most iconic line of the whole Star Wars series is when he's going down into the carbonite and she goes, "I love you, I know," and everybody's like, "Oh, that's G," and he did that himself.
That's an ad-lib. I think him running away from the soldiers in the first one was an ad-lib. He ad-libbed a lot of the most famous scenes in Indiana Jones as well, like when he shoots the guy that has the sword. That was just Harrison Ford being like, "This is ridiculous."
Yep. So, hey, so that would be cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that. But yeah, so hey, Star Wars coming at you. But let's move it on to the next topic, and that is that's our video game topic of the night. And And recently we've been seeing, especially at the last E3, you no longer see, and when I say you no longer see, you just don't see the high of volume of games that are exclusive to one system or another. Software developers are kind of getting wiser to it. It's like, hey, we want to sell our game to as many people as possible. Why would we restrict ourselves to one system or another? So you see a lot of games, for instance, like the Assassin's Creed games, both platforms, Call of Duty, both platforms. Lots and lots of games like that, like Destiny, even though it's made by Bungie, will be both platforms. Watch Dogs, a big game that just came out, both platforms. But what we're seeing is that exclusive like DLC content, or maybe just an additional like 60 minutes to a game like Watch Dogs is advertised. You have an extra bit added to just one system or another. Now, I'm not quite sure how that works. Do the big corporations pay them? Does Microsoft pay them? Say, hey, hold some of this back for us only. Or does PlayStation pay them to do that? And then you've also seen with a lot of games, especially Call of Duty, Skyrim was a big one, where Call of Duty, you always get the maps about a month before PlayStation gets them. In the example of Skyrim, you actually had them get DLC like a year before the PlayStation people did. So I don't know. Is this the new trend of the future? Is that how they're enticing gamers to pick one system or another? Is the DLC content?
I think it is probably part of the negotiation for the the licensing fee or something. Some of their contracts with between the big console makers and the groups. But we've seen this before, just not with DLC. Like we saw, you remember the old multi-platform games used to be sometimes really different between platforms. Some would have more content, some would just have different graphics because of limitations of one or the other system.
One of the best examples of that is the Aladdin games for the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. Couldn't have been.
Well, those were completely different. Those were even different
totally
developers.
Different. Yeah.
I was going to say too, the one that I always think of is Turtles in Time. For the Super Nintendo had a huge extra area, which I thought made it so much better than the Genesis one, and the graphics and the sound was a little different because of the system, but they had extra areas in the Super Nintendo one. Sunset Riders was very different, for instance, between those two.
That's true too.
And we've seen that. We've seen that later. The Tony Hawk games, when those first came out, those were always kind of sad because a lot of the Tony Hawk games on the N64 came out way later than on the PlayStation and were stripped down, even though they came out later.
Yeah.
But that's how it went.
That was part of the CD cartridge thing. But yeah, you do see that thing. Like one of my favorite examples of how much I'm not really a big fan of it because I had an Xbox 360 at the time. I'm a huge fan of the Arkham games. Arkham Asylum came out. I was right on board with that. And then I buy it for Xbox 360 just to come to find out that, hey, we give you this whole Joker campaign that you could have done if you had bought it for PS3. And it's like, really? I want to be Joker. Really?
Not only that, like we've even seen that people are a little surprised. When the Wii U came out, because it was actually the latest system and was powerful enough to finally handle a lot of the stuff that had been going between PS3 and Xbox 360, they got a bunch of those games, like Arkham City, like Assassin's Creed, and all the other a bunch of other games of that nature. And they had a whole bunch of exclusive content for the Wii U. I mean, that's where I got Dynasty Warrior or Warriors of Orochi 3 Hyper, and the Hyper Edition was essentially rolled in with a lot of the DLC that had come out for the others, plus like a few slight adjustments as well. So you've been seeing that kind of thing.
But it's just funny that like you still have the first party platform games. You have like the Halo, that's still a Microsoft exclusive. You have the Uncharted's, those are still PlayStation exclusives. But I don't know, is this, or I guess that's not a first party game, but I don't know if this is enough to really say to push gamers one way or another. I think if you're going to get one of those systems, you probably have already made up your mind. Like me, I've already made up my mind. I was an Xbox 360 owner. Now I'm going to be a PlayStation 4 owner whenever I get around to that. So I just don't know if it's enough of a push in the direction. I do like that we can get more games for both systems, But I just kind of feel shorted when it's like, okay, you can buy this game, but you'll never be able to download these couple of missions extra. It's like,
yeah, and I mean, some of the reason why we're seeing more crossover, at least quickly. I mean, we've always seen multi-platform games, but it is, I think, easier now. There are a lot more engines that are designed to just allow public developers to make a game mostly once, make it for multiple systems, port it to multiple systems really easily, a little bit of tweaking, some extra testing needs to go into it, but a lot easier of a process than what has previously been seen, especially now too, this current generation, the systems are a lot closer together, I think, hardware-wise. The PS3 was a very strange hardware set that they thought was going to take off, and it was very powerful. It was great, but it was difficult for developers to use as opposed to 360, which was kind of like a PC that they were used to anyway. So there was a lot of differences there, but when you see with the PS4, it's kind of come back around to be an easier platform to develop for, closer to a PC architecture. The Xbox One, again, closer to that kind of architecture, so they're easier, I would think, to make it for both. So if you can do it, why not?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I mean, like, you see the Unreal Engine seems to power everything. So does the Frostbite engine. So you see these couple engines, and I think you're right. That makes it easier to port it back and forth, so that you don't have that problem. I don't know. I don't know if I'm more for it or more against it, because I do like having the ability to play all these games. I just don't like feeling like I'm being cut off from a certain section of the game because I chose one system or another. I mean,
again, I think that's been around forever, and all the strange thing is now that it's something extra that you buy, and
kind of messed up
when it's so easy for them to port between stuff. Like, it was one thing back when the different systems couldn't handle as much on one cartridge, for instance, or on the CDs, whatever they had. They had different setups. That was one thing that made sense. Now it's just, okay, why are you not selling it to me?
Yeah, and is this really going to help these software? I mean, not hardware developers, Sony and Microsoft, because by the time we all get both systems, and that usually happens like 3, 4, or 5 years down the road when they start popping up used. I mean, I'll do it. I'll probably get an Xbox One somewhere far down the road when I can pick it up at GameStop for $99, just in case there was a game or 2 or 3 or 4 that I missed that I wanted to play that was exclusive to that system. But I mean, I don't know if it's ever going to affect me wanting to buy a system or another. It might affect me wanting to buy a game for a certain system if I'm like, okay, well, I want to get this game, but there's going to be all this stuff that I can't play, so you know what, never mind, I'm going to skip it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you're really into a particular series, like, I know that there are some Call of Duty fans out there that would, if there's certain exclusives on one system that they see is better than the other, it might push them to get one system or another, right? Same thing, Assassin's Creed fans, if they see there's some exclusive content on here, and if they haven't already decided which system they want to get, it might push them one way or the other so they can get that exclusive content. But for most people that aren't so severe, I don't know. It's not convincing me to choose one or the other. I've kind of already made my decisions on what systems to have. I mean, I have the Wii U now. I do want the PS4 in the future, and like you, Xbox One, we'll wait on that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
sometime.
So, but hey, let us know what you think. If this is going to sway you to buy one system or another, or if it just frustrates you and annoys you, or if you just think it's the way gaming is going now. Hit us up at wordsformyface.com. Comments down below. At wordsformyface on Twitter, and did I say? I didn't say the Gmail. I didn't say the Gmail yet. But we are running way over. I'm going to stop saying that we're a half-hour show and just start saying we're a 50-minute show, because that seems to be what we do every week. So, but as always, I am Brian. With me, as always, producer extraordinaire Brendan.
Yo.
And we will headbang our ways out.
Will we?
If you have it ready. I mean, only if you have it ready.
I mean, I think we need to get some comments down below saying whether people like this or not.
I don't think they stayed to the end of the video.
They will. Well, then it's not worth it now, is it?
All right, no headbanging for you. All right,
I'm going to headbang anyway.
We'll headbang anyway. All right, everybody. Have a good evening. And I'm hitting the stop button. I'm cussing it again.